You were fine when things were uncertain. But when they finally stayed consistent, something in you tightened. This is what your nervous system does when love stops behaving like unpredictability. Imagine you're sitting with your phone face down on a table. A message from them is already opened. You haven't replied yet, even though nothing is wrong. The room is quiet. Your thumb keeps touching the edge of the phone without reason. Time feels slightly stretched between your intention and your action. Part of you knows this is a good connection, but another part feels strangely pressured by it. Not because of what they did, but because of how steady they are being. You don't feel confusion in your thoughts first. You feel it in your body before language even forms. In a few moments, you will see why consistency can feel like pressure instead of safety, and why your reactions make sense even when they feel contradictory. Stay with this for a minute, not to fix anything, just to recognize the pattern clearly. Because the first sign of this pattern is not emotional. It is behavioral, and it is already happening before you even notice it. You don't notice it at first, but your behavior is starting to shift without a single warning. Imagine you're lying in bed at night, about to reply to a perfectly normal text. Just a moment ago, you were fine, but now your thumb hovers over the screen. For too long. This one message from them suddenly feels heavier than all the others. The truth is, how you show up in a relationship depends entirely on how stable that love feels. Your brain is silently tracking emotional consistency the same way it tracks the stability of your environment. Instead of bringing comfort, this stability actually increases the pressure on you. You start mistrusting your own reactions. You wonder, why am I changing when nothing else has? This isn't just a random mood swing, because the real shift started before you even hit send. The moment they get closer is the exact moment your response slows down. Imagine they text you, "I miss you." You read it twice, but then you choose to put off replying just to do something completely unrelated. The truth is, you maintain connection better when things are uncertain than when they become too consistent. Your internal system associates consistency with an increase in emotional demand, and so you begin creating distance without even realizing it. A single thought circles your mind. I should reply, but not right now. You aren't ignoring them. You are simply trying to manage the pressure building up inside. This isn't about avoiding a person, because what you're reacting to isn't actually them. It's not about them. It's about what your internal system expects. Imagine you receive a simple compliment, but before your mind can even process it, your body reacts. Instead of feeling warm, you feel a slight wave of tension. The truth is, your nervous system has learned to set its own baseline for love. Your early experiences calibrated your emotional expectations. If that baseline was set low, then current stability is registered by your brain as a deviation. As a result, you misread safety as emotional overload. You think to yourself, this feels like too much, even though I know it's good. Positive feelings can sometimes trigger discomfort instead of bringing relief. But remember, your system isn't rejecting love. It's simply reacting to the mismatch between your old expectations and your new reality. The better it gets, the less stable you feel inside. Imagine your partner is planning something with you weeks ahead. Instead of feeling excited, you feel a sudden tightening in your chest. You start to become less expressive without even noticing it. The truth is, stable love is creating a prediction error in your threat system. Your brain detects a mismatch between the instability it's used to and the consistency you have now. It flags this uncertainty as a potential threat. As a result, you start emotionally detaching just to reduce the internal tension. You think to yourself, this doesn't feel right, but I can't explain why. In this moment, comfort begins to feel like pressure. Your reaction isn't based on logic, because it has become physical before it ever becomes conscious. Your body reacts even before your thoughts can form. Imagine you are sitting next to someone who loves you with total calm. Externally, nothing is wrong. And yet, your chest feels tight and you feel strangely restless. The truth is, your threat network is activating because it perceives an emotional overload. In this moment, your reward response becomes muted. You lose access to natural connection signals, and you're driven by a single urge. I need space right now. Now warmth starts feeling like a suffocating pressure. But remember, this is not about emotional weakness, because your body is treating closeness like pressure, not comfort. And over time, this response becomes a loop that's hard to break. Every exit feels like proof. Imagine you start to pull away. Your partner responds with distance or confusion. In that exact moment, you feel a wave of temporary relief. The truth is, your brain misinterprets this relief as confirmation that you were right to leave. Your internal system strengthens the avoidance pattern. Over time, the cycle becomes faster and completely automatic. You think to yourself, I knew this wouldn't work out anyway. But the relief you feel is actually part of the trap. What feels like safety is really just a repetition of the past. Breaking this doesn't require more understanding. It requires you to step in and interrupt the loop. What feels like losing love is often just your system trying to return to emotional conditions it already understands, even if those conditions include loneliness. This is not about people who cannot love. This is about people whose nervous system learned that consistency requires caution, not comfort. You don't always walk away from love. Sometimes you walk away from the feeling of not knowing how to stay in it. Next time, notice what happens in you when things become steady. Not the story you tell yourself afterward, but the first physical reaction before meaning even forms. If this pattern feels familiar in more than one relationship, you may want to stay for what comes next, because the next layer is about why holding on can feel just as overwhelming as letting go. Some people don't miss love when it's gone. They miss the version of themselves, the version that knew how to survive without it.